Today we've got lots to talk about, including these dang bugs, aphids, that are just loving on this plant. How to get rid of them, what to do about them, how they even got here in the first place. We're also going to talk about propagating and starting to look at seeds for the season ahead. So what do you say? Come on, let's grow. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Grow You Girl channel. My name is Sherry, and if it's your first time here, welcome, welcome. And if you've been here before, another and an even more grateful welcome for coming back. Please subscribe, leave comments, let us know what you think about it, and especially the very first topic we're going to talk about today, which is bugs indoors. Now, it's always blown my mind that you can have bugs indoors when, like, where the heck do they come from? Like, how did they get here? It's inside. It's not out in nature. Well, I asked my buddy Chat where did they come from, just to confirm what I already thought and knew to be true. And first, they're invisible. They come in dirt. The eggs of the larvae come in. Now, the two big bugs that I get inside, and again, I would love to know in the comments what, if either A, you found your own remedies. I'm going to show you a few here that some that I've worked, tried and true, and new one I just found out about. So what are the bugs that you're dealing with indoors, and then how do you deal with them? But they come in the dirt. They come in through windows, and they could be in the dirt for a long time, and then all of a sudden the conditions are just perfect, and then they explode. Now, what happened with this mandevilla? How do you say that? Mandevilla plant that I showed you at the beginning here. And then this is a picture of it a couple of days ago, and how quickly they can reproduce. And that's why you really have, especially flowering plants, I find, for me anyway, that you really have to keep an eye on them, because, if the plant is struggling a little bit, they are like, it makes them sweeter, and they have just been all over it. And like, look at this picture. I'll put this picture up right here that you can see it. And now, one quick easy thing for me to do is chop it off and throw it out in the snow. End of the story. Because definitely do not put it in your compost or anything in the house, because they can reproduce even more. And I just like to when it's really badly covered like this, I like to just cut them off, throw them out in the cold, and that's the end of it for those particular ones. But what you'll see is what I just showed you at the beginning of this clip, is that they just came back within a couple of days. Like, it's starting to get covered again. So couple of things that I have is, I have this, it's called Aunt Fanny's House and Garden Insect Remedy. Everything I use is organic. I don't have, especially when I'm spraying it here in the house, but outside as well. But I've got, my sweet precious dogs, and our sweet precious selves, right? That we don't want dangerous chemicals. So this is really good for the aphids. So I'm going to be spraying that on here in just a minute. I'll show you that. The other thing I have is for the natty bugs, and those are going to be more coming to the surface as I start to grow seeds. We're going to talk about seeds here in just a little bit, but the natty bugs could just be horrific. So I use this, and I've shared this many times before, is these little sticky things. And all of these things you can find over on my Amazon shop. The link is below in the description. But these are super cool because you just take this off, and then this is sticky, and you can put them in a plant. Like, I have them in this plant over here. I hope you can see that. You just stick them in the plant, and the natty bugs just stick to this. They go after the sweetness of this, and they stick to these. So again, you can use a spray, and I think that this one just really works for the natty bugs. I bought this when I was just going crazy with them, but I like to spray them on the plants, and you could use them on vegetables, etc. So there is that. Now, here's something I just heard about the other day, and I happened to buy cinnamon because I love cinnamon in bulk. I got this at Costco. Did I get this at Costco? No, I think I got this online. I did get this on Amazon, so I'll put this in my store too. But you can sprinkle this in the dirt, and it is also supposed to help with these two types of bugs. So that is what's happening there. So let's go over and spray. I'm going to spray it with, because this Aunt Fanny's, who is Aunt Fanny? I don't know. But there's nothing bad as I look at the chemicals, or not the chemicals, but the ingredients. Like there's clove oil and, let me take my glasses off here, cottonseed oil, water, soap, glycerin, myristic acid, potassium oleate, and potassium stearate. Those two I'm not sure of, but I know they wouldn't say that it's safe if it was not. But this is especially good for that. So let's go over and take a look at spraying this on there. And then I'm also going to put some of this cinnamon into the dirt. Let's go do it. Okay, so now you can see, they're really right along in there on this mandevilla, and it is going to start spreading into these buds here. Now, the truth of this plant is that it was doing great. I brought it in from outdoors back in October, and it has been doing great, except that recently it started losing a lot of leaves. I don't know what happened. This is pretty close to the front door, so maybe some of the cool air came through, but it's been losing a lot of leaves, which really is what that whole piece about when a plant is struggling, it will make a sweetness in the plant that they love. That, it's like you go after things that, not you particularly, but bugs and things will go after what they perceive as weakness. So that's what's happened here. And what I'm going to do is just go ahead and let me go ahead and put my hand behind here. I hope that it doesn't mess up the camera, but because I don't want this, well, I just got all over the window. I'll wipe it off, but I really want to soak it really well. And I'm going to soak this down here too, because I can see them starting to hatch here, and put them on there like that. So what will happen is that that will hopefully do the trick. But what I also have to pay attention to as I back this up is that if it doesn't stop dying, I'm going to cut it down because it's spiraling up because it's a viney plant. If it doesn't stop, I don't want it to affect all these other healthy plants around it by getting aphids on them as well. And that's what can happen, is it can spread. So this is going to be my first attempt. We'll see what happens. I've got to watch it over the next day or two. But even I see, look at this right here. Oh my gosh. As I'm showing you this, look at, it's on this plant right here now. And I'm going to have to spray that as well. So keep an eye on the plants around it if you find the aphids, because by gosh, they can sure spread. All right. And then I'm going to go ahead and let me get this camera set up here. I'm going to go ahead and put some cinnamon in. I had a spoon here, but I don't know what I did with it. So I don't think you need a whole lot. This is an experiment, to be sure. That's all planting is, experiments, right? I'm just going to put it here in the base of it because they just don't like the smell of the cinnamon. I'm going to even put some in this plant now too. And then I'm going to go ahead and spray. Now that I've got all this stuff all over my hands, I can't even touch a camera. But I'm going to spray these guys too, because I want to let them know they are not welcome here. So that is that. Okay, and here are more of these little pesty dudes that I am noticing. Let me see if I can get this in focus here on this plant, which I may cut this back completely. It's been getting it a lot. Gosh, I forget what the name of this plant is. I'll put it, they have like little fairy-like flowers on it. I will put that here on the screen in a minute, but look at them all. Now, these are the ones that I will simply very carefully, there's so many of them, that I will do what I do, and that is to carefully, without shaking it too much, take them out and just throw them into the snow. There's the one from yesterday. Okay, bye-bye. See you later. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut this one back because I don't look at these impatiens. They're so beautiful, and they're doing so well that, again, if I don't watch it, they're going to take over. So I think I'm going to cut this plant back. God, I just see so many. There's just so many that it's better to just be safe than sorry. And these are one of those plants that when you bring them in, it's just not worth it after a while, and it's time to let them go. All right. So that's really the bug section. Now let's talk about propagating. Oh my God, they're all over the place. So as soon as I finish recording, that plant is a bye-bye. It's a bye-bye. Sometimes you just got to do that. But I want to talk about propagating. And one of my favorite plants to propagate is this polka dot begonia. And let's head on back over to the table here, and I'll show you where I love to give these out as gifts. I got this originally, I was staying with a friend in Southern Colorado, and she had, let me get this other one over here too. She had just an amazingly beautiful plant. And I'm like, what is that? I've never seen it before. And she said it was polka dot begonia. And I stayed with her a couple of days. And then when I was leaving, she gave me a clipping of the plant. And that plant, since that time, has just, I have clipped it back so many times. Let's see if I can get back a little bit further. But you can see, I mean, it's got this whole huge branch. And I've got it in here with my money tree growing. But yeah, look at, see, these aphids are starting to come over here. I have got a little problem on my hand that I'm going to get under control today because you don't want to wait. But anyway, back to the propagation. All you need to do is just cut it off at a spot that, like this one, that I could cut it off about right maybe here. Just depends on what you want or how big you want the propagation to be, and then you just put it in water. It's as easy as that, and that is really with propagation. And sometimes you can test it to see if it works or doesn't work, and just put it in water and like look at all these roots that are in here. I have this one kind of in a pretty pot here. Not kind of, it is pretty. It's a pretty little vase. uh, and and this one too. And I just really enjoy them that way. Or you can, as I have over time with that one, put it around the money tree in the pot below it because it's a really big pot. Now there's some things you can try to propagate. Like I got these over the holidays, and they have just actually stayed beautifully in water. They were in a flower bouquet, but they're just really not rooting. And maybe sometimes if you just stick them straight in dirt, they might, but I am enjoying them just the way they are. And so I really encourage you to just test it. To, if you have a clipping, or sometimes if you're moving a plant and something breaks off, put it in water. Or what you can do even with geraniums, let's go back over here, is that you can, like this was really tall. I shared this a couple of weeks ago when I did a tour of the indoor garden, and I cut it back and just stuck it straight in the dirt in this pot. And it seems to be doing quite well. It's bloomed several times since then. So that is really propagating quickly. I'm going to share with you today. And let's go and talk about seeds. Before we head to the grow room to talk about the seeds, I want to share with you too this new plant I got. It is a snake plant. And beautiful thing about snake plants, one, they don't need a lot of attention. It's here. It is called the bedroom plant because it helps to bring more oxygen into the room without needing a lot of care. So I think that that is really cool. I've enjoyed having it here. I've had it about a month now. I don't think I've watered it once. I also got this cool table lamp that I put it on. And I'll put that also in. I got it from Amazon. I'll put that in my Amazon store. But isn't that cool? I just love the snake plant. So think about it. Could be the addition you are looking for in your bedroom. All right, I was going to take us down to the grow room, but my husband is down there because it's always also our workout room, and my husband is down there working out. So I will let him be. And I thought, hey, I'd share my lovely tulips with you here at the dining room table. A couple more plants I wanted to show about propagating. This is a peperomia that came off of that big plant, broke off by accident, but I put it in this little vase here. And as you can see, it's got a lot of root action happening, and I may take it out, I may not. I have it sitting up on a shelf in my kitchen, and I kind of like it just the way it is. So there is that. And then I do not still know the name of this plant. I had cut it back in a video a couple of weeks ago because the plant was dying, so I decided to just go ahead and the spiraling branches of it that were left, I decided to go ahead and put them in to propagate. And that's the thing with propagating. It's all about testing and see what works. But as you can see, get up here a little closer, it's got some little roots that are starting to happen. And again, I just love watching the roots grow, because so often with regular plants, we can't see the roots grow because they're in the dirt. So it's kind of a cool thing. So there is that. So let's talk about seeds, shall we? Okay, so seeds. I love seeds. And as I have shared on here many times before, I initially got into seeds when I got into gardening. I was a recently divorced single woman, very little money, had enough money to buy a home, but not enough money to landscape it. It was a brand new home. And so I a friend suggested, well, why don't you grow a garden and just do seeds? I was on a corner lot. And so I grew a garden there on that corner lot. And seeds is really what got me into gardening, because I just love them. And while I'm not going to go over these packets by packets today, because I have a lot to go through, I keep my seeds in a basket. I keep them in these containers where I can separate them more by like lettuce seeds and tomato seeds, et cetera, et cetera. But what I want to do in the week ahead is to go through them. And then next week, so be sure to subscribe so you can share this with me. I'm going to, really plan out my garden for the season ahead. Decide what seeds I want to do inside, because this is that time of year that I hold myself back because I want to get started. And there's some things like artichoke, which I don't think I'm going to do this year. I had a kind of a rough experience with the artichokes last year, where my artichoke, it almost flowered. And again, those of you who've been with me a while saw it, that they almost flowered outdoors, but then we got our first frost, and I did bring them in and they ended up flowering inside through propagation. But I don't think I want to do it again this year. They do take up a lot of room in the garden, and I'm really looking at shifting some things around in the garden, which, you should always do. Shake it up a little bit. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go through my seeds. Some are already opened, some are not. But one of the things that I will tell you, and I'll share more about them next week, that I do love botanical interest seeds. I love the pictures on them. I don't know. There's something about not having a picture of what's in the seed packet that, I don't know. For me, we're all different. And I know a lot of people use Johnny's seeds, different seeds. And there are some really cool seeds from Johnny's seeds, but you can't see a picture. I need a picture. And again, this time of year, I have to be very careful about not starting them too soon, because my grow room gets ridiculous because they're getting so big that I don't have room for all of them to stay under the lights. So that this year I'm really holding myself back till March. Our first frost here in Colorado is on around the 15th of May. And so I really want to hold back on some of these until then. I do have, especially this year, because now that I have lettuce growing inside with, why can't I think of the name of what it's called? The propagating that we're doing inside, not propagating. Isn't that funny? My mind just went blank. I'll put it on the screen. When in doubt, put it on the screen. But to go through and things I come across, I did come across this. I have never used this company before, but they had 3,800 seeds in this packet for like $10. And so, because seeds are getting pricey, just like everything else, the cost of things are going up. So these are zinnia seeds, and I am a avid zinnia lover. Now I will still get more, of course, from botanical interest. And one of the things that botanical interest is doing, I am an ambassador partnership ambassador. Is that what you call it? With botanical interests. I'll put my link here below. But one of the things I highly recommend doing, especially if you haven't done seeds before, is to get their catalog. I believe that you can get it for free. So I'll put the link down in the description. But I love, my catalog is on the way to me right now for this year's selections. And it's a great way to really look at, like, as I look at this kale, it'll tell you on the package, it'll tell you that it's frost tolerant. It will tell you that it's 20 to 55 days to sow in the early spring or late summer. It's a cool weather crop, in other words, when it's telling you that. But we're going to get into that in detail as I share with you what I'm going to grow for the year ahead. I'm excited. I love this time of year. It's like you get to dream. And the thing I will tell you, my friend, we're going through a lot in this country right now. There's just so much angst and things that we could never have imagined that would happen in the United States of America that's happening. And not, this whole thing going around, don't get political. There's a humanitarian side of things that we never thought we'd see here in this country. And it causes stress. It causes, there's so much unhappiness, and people's lives are just really being destroyed by it. So I think for those of us, especially those of us who are especially empathetic, it's important that we surround ourselves with things that we can dream, and we can see possibilities of what can happen when we put our fingers in the dirt. It's one of the reasons I love plants here, and I've shared it before, here inside the house. The indoor gardening part of it is because of it soothes my soul. And I just encourage you to look at ways. And if you haven't grown from seed before, oh, my friend, you must. You just must, because it's just a beautiful way, whether you're doing it inside and I'll talk about that more next week as well. I've been growing lettuce both in the, why can't I think of the name of it? This is making me crazy. I should stop the camera. I'm going to stop the camera, recollect my thoughts. I'll be right back. Okay. Hydroponic was the word I was trying to come up with. And we have really been enjoying our hydroponic garden. And I'll share that more with you next week. We've been getting some great salads out of it. And we may do it year round. I don't know. We'll see. But there's nothing like fresh lettuce out of the dirt either. So we'll keep you posted on that. That's really what I wanted to share with you this week. Please let me know in the comments, what bugs you're dealing with indoors if you are. If you maybe have other treatments to use that are better than what I shared with you here today. If you're propagating, what you might propagate, let me know. I'd love to know. And really, that's what the Grow You Girl channel is all about, just sharing what we know. And as we experiment, because it's all a big experiment, right? Take good care. Remember to plant often and to do it with love. Talk to you next week. Thanks for joining us this week, and please join us every Sunday as we come out with a new video and a variety of shorts throughout the week. Would love to hear more of what you'd like to see as we grow together in our gardens.